Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, me and 7 brothers, we basically having us a little late night session before we pray tahajjud, in our separate locations. So basically, we was going through some things, and they told me I should go ahead and record it for YouTube. So basically, what we about to get into is the 10 steps towards Istiqamah, right? Being Mustaqeem, like real strong and upright when it comes to the deen. So we about to go through that, but we was discussing, because some things I said in my video about in certain masjids where you'll see some teaching from the book of marriage, but they using the hadiths, and then you'll see some teaching from the book of marriage, and they be using the book, whatever the version of fiqh jurisprudence they deal with. They generally use a book of marriage from whichever madhab that they specialize in. And from me personally, I've seen more people use Zayd al-Mustaqni, which is Hanbali fiqh. And how I was saying, you can see the difference. And then with some masjids who don't teach either. So what I was getting at was, when they start to have marital problems, the ones who kind of deal with the hadiths directly, but they understand hadiths, they're a student of hadiths, right? Not just, and then the ones who do Zayd al-Mustaqni, and they're a student of that fiqh and Hanbali. They really understand it. They be able to solve marital issues within their community a lot better than the places that really don't even teach from books of marriages, or and I clarified with them. I wanted to clarify something, because I mentioned how I remember a time when hadith was at the forefront when it came to actions. You know what I'm saying? Hadith was at the forefront. And when you had to really go through the books, you had to present the hadiths. You had to present the hadiths in the book in front of people. And that's where the buck stopped. But then once they took the hadiths out of the people's hand, possibly not intentionally, but then it moved towards dealing with just a lot of little different books, and which, not knocking those books. That's what I want to get at, because I mentioned a few books, and I've done them books, you know what I mean, and they beneficial books, but that left a lot of room for people to start to say whatever they wanted to say. When hadiths was on the forefront and people put them hadiths in front of a person, alhamdulillah, it was over with. But now people say whatever they want to say, and they twist the lil up in different forms. So what we was discussing was starting with the Quran first, which is what I like to do with us, with our group, with the brothers who we study with, right? So, and then like some people who've been married, some people whose marriages have ended, some people who went to the masjid and may have went to the masjid and they was told, be patient, tell the sister be patient, and just different things. But and they may even sit down and talk to both of them, right? But when you go to the Quran al-Kareem, and this is why I say those individuals who the books of hadiths is at the forefront of how they deal with their masjid, or a book of fiqh like Zayd al-Mustaqeem. You know what I'm saying? From Imam Ahmed Hanbal, right? So when I start to mention this from the Quran, you will see certain steps that be missed. Now, by us knowing that Allah knows best, and then you could go, when you start to go to the hadiths and then you start to go to the athar, you will see how they implemented these things. So, verse, and then I'm going to get to this. You know what I'm saying? But, so when you go to Surah An-Nisa, 435, and before I started recording, we was using Tafsir Qurtubi, but it's like 4 or 5 pages of explanation, and I don't want to go through that for this video, since I'm recording our session to put on YouTube, so I don't want to go through all the Tafsir Qurtubi, which we just did, but I'm gonna use Tafsir Ibn Kathir because it gives a shorter explanation. So in your ayat, you go to Surah 4, ayat number 35, right? So it say, hold on. Let's look at 34 also, just in case. Well, okay, no, we don't technically need to do 34. So when you come to 35, ayat number 35 in Surah 4, you know what I'm saying? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, right? So we're saying, if you fear a breach, a breakup, some separation, the sister finna get put in Iddad, right? Iddad. A complete divorce finna come about. Sister possibly wanna, a cooler is probably about to come about, right? Any type of breach, any type of separation, anything that's finna, that marriage they finna go their separate ways, right? So it say, if you fear a breach between them, right, the husband and the wife, appoint 2 arbitrators. How many people have been through that? When you went to your masjid, the sister went and complained to the imam or the khatib or whoever the administrator appointed over the people, right? So this Quran, starting with the Quran. So appoint 2 arbitrators, one from the husband family and another person from the wife's family. Anybody ever been through that? One person from the husband family, one person from the wife's family, right? And if they both wish for peace, right, where they really want to be back together, they really don't want to go their separate ways, it's just certain things that's going on with them. They at a rough patch. They may need a little moment to calm down. You know, they've been saying things to each other out of anger. They've been trying to do little nitpicky things to each other out of anger. So like it's saying, you follow these steps. 1, get a person from his family and get a person from her family to arbitrate. Let's sit down, discuss what's going on. Let's put this on the table. And she's going to have a family member that love her, that's going to be honest with her and say, hey, you tripping. His family going to say, hey, you tripping. Or it might be a little different ways, and then they able to all collectively sit down and work this issue out. Sometimes this is what's needed, but everybody in front of each other, not an antagonist, not an instigator, not somebody who gonna sit in, some jealous hearted friend or some family member, girl, you just need to leave him, this, that, and the third. Because the one, sometimes the wife say some things about the husband that's not necessarily true, to put herself in the light of being the victim when she's talking to her friends and family members. She don't necessarily admit what she did that created the situation. She's 100% the victim. And that's why a lot of times these females end up right back with that person. And then the other people like, why you keep going back to him? Because they didn't completely tell you the whole truth about what went on. So sometimes when they there and the truth come out, same thing with the brother. Then they can look at the whole picture and say, oh, no, you tripping. So, but this is Quran al-Kareem. Get a person from his family, get a person from her family. Two arbitrators to come in, let's talk about it, let's discuss it, and try to get this worked out. So what Allah says, if they truly want peace in their marriage, if they truly want to get together, be back together, Allah will cause reconciliation between them. So Allah put the love back in the heart between the two people. This right here, this minor step, Allah Azza wa Jal is letting us know this could fix a lot of marriages. And it says, indeed, Allah is ever all-knower and well acquainted with all things. Allah is always aware of what's going on. Right? So get somebody from his family, somebody from her family, some people that's going to be truthful, somebody that's going to tell him the truth, somebody that's going to tell her the truth, and then get them together, sit in a room, and get the situation worked out. And if the situation can't be worked out, then that's a different thing. But these steps need to be taken. So that's why I'm saying certain masjids, one, although this is in the Quran, they're missing the first step of what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to start at. But a lot of them, sister, be patient, brother this, woo out the woo. Let's start here. And like I said, some of these brothers were at their masjid and they got a person of hadiths and they going directly to them books of hadiths and these tafsirs. Then they start to breaking it out. When you start to go to your hadiths and deal with your hadiths and athars, there's examples of how these situations went. You see what I'm saying? There's examples of how this should be done. The masjids that have that, their marriages be different and more saved than the ones that don't. But this masjid, for instance, they might be teaching Shah Sunnah or something like that. They might be teaching, one of those little side books, which, alhamdulillah, those are good, excellent books. And I'm just saying, so like from coming from a time when, remembering when these steps was put in place, the Muslims was different. Muslims ain't always had these type of issues with being married for a month. They married 2 weeks. They marriage done went bad in 3 days. Sisters, because they keep jumping in and out of coolers. I done seen sisters married 5-6 times in 12 months. Because they keep getting coolers and they skipping that periods and all this other stuff, right? We talking about you married 5 times in a year. It's only 12 months. There's no reconciliation. Was these steps taken? Was this? Oh, we called the man. I went to the man. Man told me be patient. Woo up the woo. And then these individuals who doing like Zayd al-Mustaqeem and this and that. I'm just saying I see the difference in the way the marriages is going and the way that marriages is being saved. And I see the ones who take these particular steps from Quran and Sunnah, right? And where Allah is saying he'll reconcile it, I'm seeing a difference. So although I didn't explain all that in the video, but that's what I was talking about. With the marriages, when you see the ones who teaching directly from the book of hadiths, and then you see the one who teaching from like Zayd al-Mustaqeem, you can see the difference in the teaching. Because Zayd al-Mustaqni is going to really come with some rulings based off the evidence that Imam Ahmed had. You see what I'm saying? Then when you go directly to the books of hadiths, there'll be some things in there that some hadiths that Imam Ahmed possibly didn't have. So that's why when you understand Quran and Sunnah, not saying people don't, and then you take these steps, just like I say, you may know some people who've been married and divorced, right? And the masjid may have been involved, and you may have been through it yourself. How many times did this happen? You see what I'm saying? How many times did this happen? Right? And Allah, if Allah is saying, I'll reconcile this situation. Y'all take these steps, and I'll reconcile this situation. If it's best. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that we shouldn't be in, of course Allah Azza wa Jal gon' nah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously. So that's what we was just kind of discussing, and we was using, Tafsir Qurtubi. But like I said, I wanted to make it a little quick, and just think of that Quran ayat. It's in Surah 4, ayat number 35, and I'll read a little bit of the tafsir on it, where it's saying, appointing two arbitrators when the possibility of estrangement between husband and wife occurs. Allah first mentioned the case of rebellion on the part of the wife. He then mentioned the case of estrangement and alienation between the two spouses. Then, if you fear a breach between the two, appoint two arbitrators, one from his family, one from hers. The fuqaha, which is the scholars of fiqh. So this isn't including the scholars of hadith, the scholars of usul. So this right here is what's coming is from the scholars of fiqh, say that when estrangement occurs between the husband and the wife, the judge refers them to a trusted person who examines their case in order to stop any wrongs committed between them. If the matter continues or worsens, the judge sends a trustworthy person from the woman's family and a trustworthy person from the man's family to meet with them and examine their case to determine whether it is best for them to part or to remain together. You understand? And Allah gives preference to staying together. And this is why Allah said, if they both wish for peace, Allah will cause their reconciliation. So like when you reading from something like Zayd al-Mustaqni, which is from the fiqh of its Hanbali fiqh, you will see certain statements like this right here. So from fiqh, if they end up in court where they end up in front of a judge, the judge is going to send them to a trustworthy person first. Examine their case. Talk to them and, give them a day or two. Let them work it out. And if it doesn't work out then they're going to go to the two people, the family members. So all I'm saying is when you dealing with a masjid, and like some masjids, they can't even go to the email. Like some masjids, they can't even go get married at their masjid. Wallahi, I know of some. They tell them, they come there to get married, and they be like, no, y'all go to the courthouse. You know what I'm saying? Go to the courthouse. Have a judge marry you. Like wallahi, we don't do marriages here. Y'all keep being boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever. Go to the courthouse. Real talk. So when they in an area where they have masjids like that and they don't have anybody to go talk to, they can't even go to the masjid and say, hey, we having some problems. Or, you have some masjids, because like right now, I'm never going to say things is getting turned into a hustle, but people want dollars now. So it's because I know in some cities, the imams and the people who's and I'm going to say this: when you are an imam of a community, right now, no. So when you are an imam of a community, this is your flock, the community. You're responsible for these people. See, a lot of these imams and people who've been put in the forefront, and they think being an imam is just all about giving a khutbah and leading the prayers. Don't you know that some of the stuff, man, with your teaching and the way you lead your flock and the people in your community out there wreaking havoc and all that other type of stuff and fighting each other and women getting beat all in the community and women beating men and stabbing men and all this other type of stuff in the community? Why do you not feel like you're going to get a piece of what's going on with your flock? You understand? So certain steps and things need to be, took in the hand. And like I say, some people come in there, sister, my husband beating me halfway to death. Oh, sister, you need to just be patient with that. What? Okay, well at least have a couple of brothers come knock on the door and say, hey, she called the masjid again, man. You gonna get a taste of what you giving her, you feel me? Although it's dangerous in this damn time, but something. Send a knucklehead over there and say, hey, man, you gonna quit beating on this sister, man. And then, like with some instances, like I know a Muslim brother, man, and his wife was cheating on him, and he caught her, and she cut his face. He stayed with her, and then she tried to stab him in his heart, man, and he fell back, and she ended up cutting his arm. You know what I'm saying? And he still wanted to be with her. So sometimes these sisters be cutting up, but these steps needed to be taken. And wallahi, that's a true story, man. She tried to stab that man, and he stepped back, so he was bleeding, and I knew him, real smooth cat in Philly, so he ended up going live with the towel. He bleeding and he crying real bad. I'm talking about he was, and he a big bulky cat, and he was just watch it. People was going off on him on the live. Hey, y'all possibly need to get somebody from your family and her family. Y'all need to do what Quran al-Kareem tell you. You understand? If you don't, because you need somebody to tell you, hey, time to wipe your hands of that, B, before she kill you. You know what I'm saying? You and this, because this is our late night session, brothers. When you catch your wife cheating, and we talking about real cheating, red-handed, we don't need no 4 witnesses. Not where you catch them in the act they self or with text messages and they talking about the sexual acts and this and that, they red-handed. What make you think they still permissible to be your wife? That's an adulteress, B. Shake that off. Shake that off. Because if you was in somewhere where they had Sharia, a court of law, they'd definitely be under a different set of circumstances. You feel me? If you was in an Islamic country, oh yeah, it'd definitely be a different set of circumstances. True story. Hey, shake that off, man. But there's certain steps that need to be taken. So, all right, man, that's enough of that. But that's what we was talking about. And that's enough to, hopefully give people an example. So, like, even if you married and you going through some things and, if you really want to still be married and, the marriage is actually not completely damaged, y'all just not seeing eye to eye, take these steps. Take these steps. But if it's over, you don't really want to be this and that. And because sometimes people just be suffering from the was-was. Ramadan getting ready to come up. You know what I'm saying? And then some people might be married, and he might be working too much. He feel a little lonely. Shaitan get the whispering in her head. I don't want to be married no more. Then you mess around, because I've seen this. I don't want to be married no more. Brother let her up out of the marriage. Then temptation kick in. And next thing you know, she fornicating during Ramadan. You see what I'm saying? When she could have just still had her husband when Ramadan came. You see what I'm saying? Suffering from waswas. So anyway, let's get to this. You know what me and the brothers finna get to. So y'all got y'all little pen and papers. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So the 10 steps to Istiqamah. Of course, and to being a Mustaqeem. As Mustaqeem, we're gonna use a translation as being a very strong, upright Muslim. Being very strong and upright, strong with the deen, a strong believer. These are some of the 10 steps to that, right? So when you go with number 1, class, sincerity to Allah. Sincerity to Allah when in everything. You see what I'm saying? Even if it's waking up, even if it's to make wudu, when you waking up, and the things that you say when you wake up, as soon as your eyes open, the things you say when you go to bed, sincerity in everything to Allah, even if you eating. You know what I'm saying? So you always gotta check your sincerity. Always check your sincerity, which these things is gonna fall under some of these other categories. So 1, ikhlas, that's sincerity to Allah. 2, ilm. And when you look up ilm in the Arabic term, having knowledge is a branch of ilm. Knowledge can just be because that's an English definition. So knowledge could just be like knowing things, knowing about a thing. Like I have knowledge of the situation, but I don't know the intricate details. Right? Like it could be a car crash out there. Okay, I have knowledge that a car crash happened, but I don't know how it happened. I don't know who was in there. I don't know who got hurt. Ilm is knowing all of those things with certainty. This is how the crash happened. This is who was in here. This is how they got hurt. That's what ilm is. It's more than just having some basic knowledge of something. It's having complete knowledge of the whole entire situation. So when it comes to the deen, what ilm entails is a particular situation is going on, even if it's wudu. When it comes to wudu, you know 100% what the Quran says about it with certainty. Then you know what the hadith say about it with certainty. You know how the Rasulullah acted up on it and taught other people to act up on it with certainty. And then you know how to act up on it, because with ilm is, right, it's what's on your tongue, it's what's on your limbs, and it's what's in your heart. You understand? You can speak it. On your limbs, it means you can put it into practice. It's in your actions. And it's going to start in your heart. That means you don't have no doubt about it. Like, okay, I'm doing this, but I don't know if this right. See, at that point, it's not ilm. You have doubt about it because you don't have what you see right here, ilm with yaqeen. When you have a little bit of doubt about a situation, it's because you don't have yaqeen. And the reason why you don't have yaqeen, certainty, you 100% sure about the situation. The reason why you don't have yaqeen, because you don't have complete ilm about the situation. But you may have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of knowing about the situation. So you want to have ilm with yaqeen, that sincerity to Allah as a wajel, and then M with Yakin, and then number 3, one of my favorites, al-ittiba'a, right? Al-ittiba'a. So we're going to put kind of defining al-ittiba'a as like following the sunnah and athars, the narrations, completely, and avoiding taqleed. Taqleed is blind following a particular imam, your friend, somebody just tell you something, right? Somebody just tell you something. And I like to use examples. Me and one of my homies was having a conversations about, these be true stories. And some of the people who watch the video, they know when I'm talking about certain situations, they know who they are. So we was having a conversation about the one finger and the video and other things, right? So, like I say with the gang stuff, and they're around, so he was saying, doing this, and the 5, the 1 represents Tawheed, and the 5 represents the 5 pillars of Islam. So I had to say to him, honestly, the 5. So when we was in the gang stuff, we used to ride the 5. We used to represent the 5, the 5-point star, because it was the 5 pillars of our gang, which stood for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. This was also the 5 pillars for the Moorish American temple, the Moorish Science Temple. So they even had a 5-point star, and around that 5-point star they had love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So you will see with the Moors, you will see them doing this, and you will see them doing this. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So the gang that we was in, it had a lot of that literature mixed in it. So we rolled the 5. So one of the things that we did was this. We would call it the glove. Throw up the 5. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So that stuff has been intertwined in Islam. So he like the 5 stands for the 5 pillars of Islam. Where did the Rasul and them do that? Where did the Rasul and them do this or say that a 5 represents the 5 pillars of Islam? Where is that in the Quran? Just as like the same thing with the 1. Where's these things come from? And that's why you have to understand ittiba. What happens is taqleed came into the point where they blindly followed individuals who told them this type of stuff. You understand? Individuals who told them this type of stuff. And so with ittiba, you want to be up on following the Quran and the Sunnah with the Hathars completely. You understand? And avoiding taqleed. This is basically al-ittiba'a. So these are some of the steps to becoming a Mustaqeem, a strong, upright Muslim where your deen is counting for you. Okay? So again, al-ittiba'a, following the Sunnah. Of course the Quran is in there, but following the Sunnah and the Athar, the narrations, completely, and avoiding taqleed, right? So then number 4, ihsan, being an ihsan. So just for the purposes of this, we're going to refer to it as doing deeds as beautiful and as perfect as possible. You understand? Like, for instance, if I know Allah as a wajel, not for nobody to jump in and say he giving Allah a human form or saying Allah's on the earth in his room. I'm not saying that before people hit me up with the comments or start unsubscribing. He a deviant, he went against the Salaf, saying Allah in his living in the Musala, because I'm not saying that. But imagine if Allah was right here, right in front of wherever you at, and you got to do something that's in accordance with Islam. How would you perform that deed if Allah was right there? That's what being an ihsan is. Not only that, if Allah was right there and your neighbor knocked on your door, how you gonna deal with your neighbor? How you gonna deal with the people? How you gonna deal with an enemy of Islam? How you gonna deal with a Muslim that's spreading corruption throughout the deen and throughout the community, and Allah standing right next to you? Because some people want to be soft. Oh man, we gonna love them out of their corruption. They just need a hug. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of being an ihsan. Live your life like Allah standing right next to you. And then when you know, okay, well, I can't see Allah standing there, but never lose sight of the fact that Allah can see you. And one thing for sure, and two things that's for certain, just like you have individuals, you know, they love to say, you got an angel here writing the good, an angel here writing the bad, and all this other type of stuff. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong, but if you say to them, do you have a hadith that says exactly that? Do the Quran say exactly that? That there's one angel right here writing good, and then there's another angel right here writing bad. And I'm only saying that, let's have that as a homework thing. Do you have some type of hadith or some type of dalil that says there's one angel on this shoulder writing only the good that you do, and then there's another angel right here writing only the bad that you do? So this right here, and the reason why I'm saying adding that in, because that's going to be part of our ittiba'. Or did somebody just tell you that, you heard that, and you fell into taqleed, and you just blindly follow it, and you just blindly teach it? So that's one right there. Don't let me forget what that one is, because I ain't got no paper to write it on. And then we understand our ihsan and then our taqleed, right? Because we do know the angels is there, and we do at least be mindful that an angel is doing some right. Whether it's one, whether it's two, I ain't gonna give it away. I know the answer, but we gonna leave that out, and that's what we gonna say. Is there some dalil that one angel sits on your right shoulder and writes only the good, and one angel sits on the other shoulder and writes only the bad? And let's see if there's any authentic dalil, nothing munkar, nothing that comes from a deviant, some type of authentic hadith, and we want to see if we can find it in Bukhari and Muslim first, the most authentic. Where's the dalil for that? Is it in Quran al-Kareem? Is it a tafsir that explains it? So okay, so that's a homework for taqleed. Then ihsan. So keep in mind, do your deeds, live your life like Allah is right next to you, like you can see Allah looking at you. And then when you realize you can't do that, then stay mindful that Allah is watching you, and that those angels or that angel, you know what I'm saying, depending on what their jobs is. If you feel like it's angels, then know the angels is writing down. Or if you feel like it's an angel that's writing good and bad down, just be mindful that the angels is there. So then number 5, be aware of your destination. Be aware of where you're headed. See, when you start to deal with the deen and they talk about certain things like a hadith, some people will do the deeds of the people of the hellfire until they get to the end of their life, and then they change and start to do the deeds of the people of Jannah. Some people will do the deeds of the people of Jannah and then get to the end of their life and do the deeds of the people of the hellfire. So you gotta have enough First, you gotta be sincere to yourself for the purposes of worshiping Allah, sincerity. You got to be sincere with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't fool yourself. Don't big up yourself and put yourself in a place where you don't know if you're really there. And then you got to have that with certainty, right? And then stick to that al-ittiba'a and ihsan, and be honest with yourself and beware your destination. Am I doing the deeds of the people of the hellfire? If what I'm doing is this leading to the hellfire, if I stay on this path, where am I going? If I stay on this path, am I doing the deeds of the people of Jannah? With sincerity? No rehab, no expecting something in return or expecting more. I'm doing this expecting to get more. Not considering my deen a favor to Allah Azza wa Jal, like, Allah, you owe me what I'm praying for because I became Muslim. I done slept 10 nights in Itikaf in the Ramadan Masjid. I'm owed an envelope of money. What you doing, man? Selling your Itikaf? Come on, man. I mean, and these are things that I know that people do. That's not a deed of the people of Jannah. So you have to be aware of your destination. You understand? And then that's why, like in your Quran, where you use words in the English translations, the off returning. The way Allah feels about the ones that's off returning. I done slipped. I done fell off a little bit. Let me come back. Make tawbah. Let me, you know, like how they say making tawbah. Let's say you're going this way, and this is bad what you're doing, but right here is to where Allah is. When you make tawbah, you completely turning back around, away from what you was doing, completely leaving that off, and then you going back to Allah Azza wa Jal. You returning back to the way of Allah Azza wa Jal. So you have to be aware of your destination, and you have to be honest with yourself. And that's sincerely be honest with yourself and understand your deen from the aspects of our ittiba'. There's a lot of stuff that what I'm doing in this deen, where did it even come from? You know what I'm saying? I got time for Qiyam al-Layl. I'm gonna hurry up. So like I said, man, I have a couple of companions, and they ask me why, when I travel or when I go places, why I don't never take them with me. See, you have to understand, man. This came up too. So why do I say there's two type of Salafis? The Salafis being broken up into. I say it's two type of Salafis because I truly understand what the Salafi minhaj is and what it is, what it means to be on the minhaj. So some of the Salafis that I hang with, if you don't go to their masjid and you don't listen to the people that they say you have to listen to, you not Salafi. Although you can be on the minhaj of the Salaf. But we don't like that masjid over there. And you go to that masjid, no, you ain't Salafi. We don't like that particular person. You listen to his YouTube video. You spoke to another person. You not Salafi no more. So some of the Salafis that I be around, they are those. I'm not that. And then some of the Salafis that I be around be on the minhaj. And if you on the Salafi minhaj, you Salafi. Because that's all it requires. Salafiyah isn't about which masjid you go to and which people you listen to. But I understand that point because you do have to be careful. But like some of the strange things that I see is like, I'm going to give you an example. I talk to some of the newer generations of the Salafis and they don't know this. So in Philly, it started off with a couple of masjids. They was the only Salafi masjids in the city, according to them. Which I knew was other Salafi masjids, but okay, cool. Y'all don't accept them. And y'all done came up with reasons for this and that. But you know, we still good. And you know, they some of my brothers. So these two masjids got into it. right? The masjid split. It's actually three of them. Three of them split. It was four. So they all split. And although this is the same people that you was best friends with, and they on a hawk Monday, and then these was the best friends, and they was on a hawk on Monday, y'all get into an argument, and now on Tuesday, now your masjid isn't a Salafi masjid no more, and this masjid isn't a Salafi masjid no more. But it's the exact same people still doing the exact same thing they did on Monday, because you had an argument. And then if you then now you got to choose sides. If you choose to keep going to that masjid, according to the ones in this masjid, you not Salafi no more. Unfortunately, I understand people do that. That's not Salafiyah. Salafiyah isn't something that you can kick people out of. You know what I'm saying? If you own a minhaj, you own a minhaj. So like sometimes with individuals, they get to feeling some type of way about me. That's why I say you can't kick me off nothing. We can stop being cool. You understand? But you can't stop me from being Salafi when I'm on the minhaj. Oh man, you spoke to a Wharf Dean brother. You ain't snap on that Wharf Dean brother. You ain't tell him about himself. You know who the brother is I spoke to? Yeah. Okay, then you go do it. He didn't do anything that warranted us to have that type of discussion, because at the end of the day, he's still Muslim. So therefore, he still got rights with me. You understand? You go snap on him for whatever reasons you need to, just because he won't call himself Salafi. So there's a side that don't do that, and then there's a side that does. I be around both. Love it or hate it. So reason why I don't take some people around me when I'm traveling, because they really not ready, man. They really not ready. And some of the Salafis that don't play, but because of our relationship and they really know us to me, they'll mistreat them. They'll mistreat them. Yeah. Some of the people I know, they'll get mistreated. You know what I'm saying? And they want to be Salafi too. You know, technically they not on the minhaj because they got a lot of learning to do. Because, you know, Salafiyah, you have to really be on the minhaj. But I don't take it away from them. But that's why I don't travel with them, man. And and I love them though. Good brothers. And possibly one day they're gonna be strong, you know what I'm saying? But they need to get that dirty water squeezed up out of them, because a lot of what they have in them isn't Islam, unfortunately. So you know, I just wanted to address that because on the thing of like, you know, gotta beware your destination, because sometimes you could be headed somewhere, but you really be lost and you don't know it. So like I said, so that's why I say it's two types of Salafis. I'm not saying it for me, but this is out there. But like I say, the Salafis who like, hey, you don't listen to who we say, you don't come to our masjid, we don't care what y'all not Salafi. But how can you say that if they're really on the minhaj? You know what I'm saying? If they on the minhaj, they on the minhaj. Oh, we don't like who they talk to. They listen to somebody that was warned against. Now, for those of us who know, that's in the know of some knowing, you also listen to some people that was warned against. Right? Detailed for real warnings. Okay? So now what? But anyway, that's why I don't travel with them. I would love to, but I'm gonna be honest. They not ready. Beautiful situation. Before I go on, cause y'all know I love my stories. I'm gonna tell y'all something because it make me think of some people here. So, of course, I'm in Philly, and we over a sister house who's a relative to one of the brothers that I'm with. you know, Muslims on the whole block. Every house on the whole block, everybody Muslim. So while we over there chilling, it's like it's maybe almost midnight. So the brother, we at the house. They getting off work. The sister who house it is. I'm with her relative and we over there. So she getting off work. She come to the house. We in there, right? And then her neighbor come from across the street. Was like, knocked on the door. Salam alaikum. May I enter? May I come in? Some real Sunnah etiquettes. He come in and he was like, yeah, I made some sandwiches. I know how you like my sandwiches, so I brought you one. And, this my neighbor. I'm not finna let my neighbor go to bed hungry. And I ate. Real Sunnah, real etiquette, but it's so natural in their way of life. So when he bring her the sandwich, she's sitting up there talking. Now when I tell y'all this part kind of at the end, it's kind of funny. It's just one of those things, man, it's just Philly. So as she's eating the sandwich, it was a little bug and they couldn't tell what it was. So the bug came through and scared her. She jumped like, ah. And then dude was like, he was looking at it and everybody paused. I couldn't see the bug from where I was, but everybody paused because they had to stop and figure out, is this one of the bugs that's permissible for us to kill? So they paused and was like, wait a minute, I think that's this and that. This is one of the things that you can't kill. And then she was like, no, I think it is. So, me being a hadith person, I was like, hold up, hurry up. I heard him whipped out because, I got all the sets of hadiths in my phone. So, but I can't see the bug, so I go through and get the running off what they could kill. So they was like, okay, yeah, we can kill it. Now, here, I know particular individuals, it could be like a snake that you should kill. It could be like certain animals that you're supposed to kill, but they'll be like, no, you can't kill that. That's Allah's creation. And I be there went out of town. No, that's Allah created that because they haven't been introduced to the Sunnah. You know what I'm saying? They some one finger guys. So they ain't been, so it's certain things that you should kill, that you supposed to kill, and to them, no, that's Allah's creation. So I know mixing them and this and that, and they gonna be like, they some new shot. They just come to the deen like a week ago. But anyway, that's why I don't travel with them, man, to spare them, because the East Coast Act, man, it can be harsh when because people love to take their things serious, man. It ain't, these cats don't know they not as serious as they don't know what they think they know. So to get back to it, my apologies. But I love to speak on, I love that story. Oh yeah, I didn't end with what it went with. The crazy part with all these etiquettes and the brother who brought the sandwich over, all this Sunnah, all this Islam, and the Quran, it say treat your neighbors who's your family or non-family members. We know in Islam you got to treat your neighbors a certain way. This from Quran and Hadith. So he coming to feed his neighbor, and they pause and then automatically kill the bug because they wasn't sure if it was going against the Sunnah. This was all the etiquette, right? But this was the funny part. The brother had some sugar in his tank. Man, the brother had sugar in his tank. I'm not laughing at him, but like just all that etiquette, sometimes it just be like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, it was just one of those situations where like, it was just like all this Sunnah, all this Quran and Sunnah. with everybody up on in the house and everything. You know, the brother bringing the sandwiches and getting all this type of stuff in, getting his D's and Bearcats in. But he was sugary. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, subhanAllah thing, man. But so number 6, you gotta have that commitment. You got to stay committed to doing them deeds. So like, one thing we're showing committed, when I took one of the guys to the masjid, after we were done and we was left, the way I worded, I was like, okay, I'm finna calculate your money up. All your berakahs, all the deeds you did, everything you did that you get rewards and berakahs for and get closer to Allah for. He did his thing. So, and I did it for him, so now you could look into it and see more and more that you could do and see exactly what you're getting rewarded for, what the rewards is. So now this right here is keeping you familiar with your destination. Which path are you really on? Is you on some bid'ah? Is you on some sunnah? Is you doing some things that don't really count? You know what I'm saying? Let's figure it out and learn what you're doing, Sheikh. So be aware of your destination. So part of the commitment is stay committed to what you learning and acting up on it and growing. Be committed to growing in this deen and obtaining yaqeen and really digging into al-ittiba', putting these things into actions and into practices. You gotta stay committed. You gotta stay committed. Just like I heard a scholar say that Allah doesn't expect anything out of you that you don't already do for some other reasons. And I was like, wow. And because it made me look at myself. Right? And I'm gonna hurry up. I know we got to get to it. I know everybody ready to do their qiyams, right? So what he meaning by that is, and it made me look at myself. It was sometimes when I had a day job, and in order for me to get to work on time, I may have to get up at like 4 a.m. 4 or 5 a.m. I'm getting up, jumping up, taking whole showers, right? I'm jumping up, taking whole showers and everything. Getting clothes, might even cook a little breakfast and all that to make sure that I'm at work on time. But then Fajr may come in. I'm getting up at 4, but Fajr may come in at 5:30, and it's a Saturday or Sunday. I might hit the snooze button on Fajr. You know what I'm saying? I have my alarm. I have it on the 5-minute thing. But, I got time. Man, let me hit the snooze button on that joint. But for work, I'm jumping up, making sure I'm getting to work on time or early. Who set their life up to be early for Fajr? These are things that we already do for other reasons. Even if you work in the evening. Let's say you have to be at work at 5 o'clock in the evening. People jump up. If they take naps, they running around. They doing what they got to do to make sure that they get to work on time. Right? But let's say on their day off, Asr come in at 5 o'clock. Is they preparing themselves for Asr at 4? Let me get up at 4 o'clock so that when 5 o'clock, when Asr hit, I'm on it. And see, that's one of the beauties of praying in a masjid, which a lot of people ain't really aware of. When you praying your prayers in a masjid, you literally have to get up out of your home and prepare yourself to head to the masjid so that you can arrive there on time. As opposed to when you at home, you might not even be mindful until your adhan go off on your phone or your clock or something. You know what I'm saying? But when you go into a masjid, you prepare yourself to go there like you would do a job. And that's one of the beauties of it. So like Allah doesn't expect anything out of us that we not already doing for some other reason. You see what I'm saying? When he better. Now fasting is a little different. But like when it's time to make salat and this and that, and like look at this right here. Jumar prayer replaces Dhuhr. Right? That's why you don't pray Dhuhr on Friday. Well, you shouldn't be unless you miss Jumar or the Jumar has innovated, there's some bid'ah, has zipped out this, that, and the third, and you just pray Dhuhr and sit and listen to the khutbah or whatever. But when Friday comes, people jump up, they taking showers, they making wussel, ironing clothes and pressing throws, steaming their throws and kimars and this and that, showing up early to get them barakots. But on Thursday, they ain't doing that to make it the Dhuhr. They ain't doing that for Dhuhr. You see what I'm saying? Man, I gotta get there, I gotta be at Jumar early. Why ain't you ready for Dhuhr early? Not that it's mandatory, but the point is, Allah don't expect nothing out of us that we not already doing for something else. And we still take it for granted and be negligent. And sometimes that kind of shows our commitment. Some of us is more committed to our jobs. Some of us have all type of classes, And this is the thing. I don't knock people because I've been a student and I see some people who they take classes, secular classes. They trying to become a CNA or something like that, or whatever it is they're going to school for. Studious. But let it be an Islamic class. Oh no, I can't sign up. I got other school. I don't know what I'm gonna do. That homework gonna get in the way of this homework. But see, this homework gonna get you to Jannah. That homework might get you to the hellfire, you heard? I mean, it's just a reality. Not saying you shouldn't earn a living, not saying you shouldn't get an education, but when it comes to the Islamic schooling, it's difficult for them. But when it comes to the secular school, studious. Not missing no homework, straight A students. Put an Islamic class in front of them. Hey, we having a class on Monday. Oh man, I don't know, man. I gotta study. Are you studying something else? Well, yeah, I'm trying to become a CNA. Alhamdulillah, But what about your Jannah? Squeeze them both in. Because I guarantee you this. If you taking classes to be a CNA, and then they come tell you gotta go take some other classes along with that one, I bet you'll be able to squeeze them both in. I bet you will figure it out. Allah ain't asking you to do nothing that you don't already do for some other reason. Commitment. It's number 7. Jihad of the nafs. Learn how to fight against your nafs, man. Purify your nafs. Learn how to start to purify your nafs, man. Because like they say, man, in the deen, if your nafs start to find you weak, they'll conquer you. Shaitan not only can Shaitan whisper to you, Shaitan can whisper to your nafs. One thing about your desires, once those desires get attached to your nafs, you gonna struggle, Shay. You gonna struggle. Once those desires get attached to your nafs, it can mess around and overtake you. Give you a prime example, and I'm gonna hurry up and wrap this up. A Muslim allow their desires They get attached to their nafs. But Islam is in their way. I can't go do this and that because it's Muslim. I can't get this type of money and all this other type of stuff because it's haram. But you desire it so much. I can't have these relationships. I can't go have meaningless sex because my desire is so strong and I'm not married. You know, if I wasn't Muslim, I could just go sleep with my neighbor, sleep with my work colleague. You know what I'm saying? But a Muslim, I can't. Then those desires get attached to that nafs. And then they put their deen down, and then they leave Islam. And the crazy part is this. They don't get it. They don't get what they was looking for, what they desired anyway. They don't get what they desired anyway. It still don't work out for them, and they done left Islam. I can get out here, I could become a rapper, I could chase this money, let me put my deen down, let me leave Islam, and still don't become a rich, famous rapper. I can get out here and get these good Christian men that's nice, they ain't mean like the Muslims. I ain't got to cover up, I ain't got to pray, I ain't got to fast. They gonna take me on trips and we can go to the club and concerts. Leave Islam and still never get it. And then like what I say to other people, because they don't do jihad of their nafs. They don't purify their nafs. They don't fight their nafs and they don't purify their nafs. Let's say you do leave Islam and you get that big house, right? You get the cars, you get the guys, you get this stuff that you feel like you desire. Can you say Allah gave it to you? The thought never occurs to them that Shaitan gave it to them. And you know what they done lost sight of? Their destination. They done lost sight of their destination. They don't even know where they headed. You understand? That's because they more focused on the studying that can possibly alter their destination if they don't do ittiba, if they don't stay focused on ihsan, if they don't stay committed to this deen or do jihad of their nafs and purify their nafs. Sometimes you lose sight of your destination, you're not sure where you're going. Always beware your destination. Number 8, take inventory of yourself. Go back to the basics. Check your deen. What you strong at, what you weak at, what you have too much of and what you don't have enough of. Take inventory of yourself and be sincere about it. Have that ihsan when it comes to it. And then go to that al-ittiba so that you can have manafi, beneficial with yaqeen, and then you could do inventory. This is what I need more of. This is what I need to start doing more of. You know what I'm saying? I could do a little bit less of this and more of this and balance it out. See, one point in my deen where it was a point when I had read all of Sahih Bukhari, because I really had sat by myself without a teacher, and every once in a while I had a homie in New York. We would read like over the phone or whatever, and discuss certain things. But what I realized was when I got done, I didn't know how to put a lot of the hadiths in practice. I knew them, and when I seen things, it didn't look right. But a lot of the hadiths, I didn't know how to put in practice. That was me doing inventory of myself. So when I realized that about myself, I said to myself, I want to be well-rounded. I want to know, I want to have some strength in hadiths. I want to have some strength in fiqh. I want to have some strength in sharia. I want to have some strength in usul. And then I would take one and deal with it for a whole year. Seriously, like I want to have some strength in tafsirs. I want to have some strength in the minhaj. And I would take a whole year and focus on one for a whole entire year. Not only just knowing it, but implementing it and putting it into practice. until I can get more well-rounded, like sort of like a jack of trades, but a master of none, where I'm a little bit decent with all of it. Aikido, I'm working on Aikido for a whole year. All these different things, man. And this is things when you take inventory of yourself, you need to take a look at yourself and decide what you want to be. You know, do you want to be up on top league where your whole dean is just boiled down to what people tell you? You know, and that right there was something that I learned, man, from a statement from Sheikh Rabi. You know, man, Allah be pleased with him. Many years ago, Sheikh Rabi had made a statement. How long you gonna just sit around and let people read your deen to you? You know what I'm saying? How long y'all just gonna sit around and let somebody just read your deen to you? Or tell you what, you know, come listen to somebody read you a book. How long y'all gonna do that? You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful statement. You know what I'm saying? So how long you just gonna sit around and just let everybody tell you what your deen is? You listen to this one, you listening to that one, you know. How long you just gonna sit around and let people tell you what your deen is? To the point where you ain't even gonna know what you on. You don't know if it's real, you don't know if it's fake. But anyway, so that's how you have to take inventory of yourself. Okay, ooh, I got a little bit of eye in me. Let me clean that up. I got a little bit of body, a little deviation that I don't know where this came from. Let me clean that up. Let me get more sooner in me. So then number 9, muhasibah. Hold yourself accountable. Start being accountable for the things that's going on in your deen and your life. Sometimes we're being a muhasib, but kind of like an accountant, right? And like that's what a muhasib is, basically like an accountant. Somebody who do the books, somebody who count the money, somebody, you know, an accountant. So like sometimes with being a muhasibah, some of the things like from early generations of scholars and strong scholars, some things that they would do, like I knew a particular one, I can't think of his name at the time, but before he went to bed, he would sit for 45 minutes to an hour and go over his whole day and hold himself accountable. And look at mistakes he possibly could have made, things he shouldn't have did, things he could have did better, opportunities that he missed to get more barakahs, to do more ibadah, you know, things that he said that he shouldn't have said, and things that he should have said and he didn't. You know, he would hold himself accountable every day for a whole hour, 45 minutes to an hour before he went to bed, being a muhasibah, balancing his books. You understand? Holding himself accountable. So you want to have that too, being a muhasibah, right? A muhasibah. So number 10, humble yourself. Humble yourself. And this is why, like, certain things where I be talking about, where people who talking about they blessed and Allah loves them because of stuff that they have and certain accomplishments and different things like that. But in Islam, it doesn't mean that. But also from that and looking at it that way and using that al-ittiba to see who Allah really loves and this and that, it keeps you on a path of being humble. You understand? You don't, oh man, I'm because you putting yourself at a status with Allah Azza wa Jal behind some stuff that don't even mean nothing to Allah. Some of those things just from the mercy of Allah. So you thinking that you have a place, you have a stronghold, you're in a position with Allah Azza wa Jal, and you really don't. And then you might start to be negligent in other areas just because you think Allah loves you because you got a Porsche. You know what I'm saying? Because you make $200,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Allah love me, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. And then you might see a Muslim ride down the street and see a Muslim who ain't had a full meal in a week. And one funeral. Ride down the street, see that Muslim? Man, Allah must not love him. His ribs touching. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that because, you know, I ain't gonna go into like some statements that some particular doctors and stuff made, but you gotta humble yourself. Know your destination. And one part about being humble is tadabbur. When it comes to that Quran al-Kareem, dig into that Quran, dig into them tafsirs, them explanations of that Quran, and do deep reflections. But your reflections gotta come from the right place. They gotta come from ittiba, not from some places of taqleed. You trying to reflect on the Quran based off some foolishness that somebody done told you, and you just blindly accepted it. Taqleed, blind followed it. Now you reflecting, you know, just like some people who have deviant beliefs. Oh, Allah can't love. Allah don't have no awareness because we aware. So now when you read the Quran and it's saying Allah is all aware, oh man, Allah can't be all aware because His you're not reflecting off what's correct. You lack al-ittiba'. So like what I say, that fundamental principle that I always speak of. Allah said, we want to stick to that. Quran. You know what I'm saying? We're going to put tafsir under it too. Because how the Quran should be understood. Allah said, Quran tafsirs. Rasul wa Nabi, the messenger and prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, right? So we know what that is. Hadiths. We want to stick to these principles. And then what's after that? Companions. Companions said, not from their own self. Well, we ain't gonna say said, we gonna say understood. Companions understood, or understanding. The companions understanding, which is what? Athars. Right? Those three principles, however you want to word it. Quran, Sunnah, Ijma'. Allah Ta'ala said, Rasul wa Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, taught, acted upon, companions understood, or their understanding. Al-ittiba'. Instead of taqleed, just blindly following anything that anybody else tell you. Tadabbur. Humble yourself, get into that Quran and do tadabbur. And these right here is 10 steps to istiqamah, being Mustaqeem. Now this isn't from me. You know what I'm saying? These is things that's taught in the university, and I sat with my ustad, and we had a whole little class. So like we actually went through all of this. I have all my notes, and then to the point where I have my understanding, to where I could discuss these things right here. And let me close on something. This right here is actually a book on al-ittiba', right? So let me read a couple of strong points from it. I know we going long. My bad, brothers. You know what I'm saying? So on another screen, we on Zoom with and then right here I'm recording with this. So when y'all see me looking over like this, anyway, the brothers understand. So right here, a strong point from al-ittiba, right? Similarly, one should fear Allah, and one should not be audacious nor courageous with Allah by giving religious verdicts without proof, without evidence. See, I love how they put proof and evidence in two different categories. You understand? So, giving religious verdicts without proof, without evidence, and without verifying the authentic narrations. Where did it come from? Is it an authentic hadith? Is it an authentic athar? The proof, the evidence that you came with, the dalil, is it authentic without verifying it? So when it's saying giving religious verdicts, this don't always necessarily mean a fatwa, right? This could boil down to little things as small as saying, not to be stuck on it, you gotta do this when you take your shahada. You have to do this when you make your du'as. This right here means tawheed. They giving religious verdicts because you're giving a ruling to it. It has to be done. Doing this mean this is testimony, is your shahada. They're giving a ruling to it. So, of course, so as it closes off by saying, right, without verifying the authentic narrations, for verily, the ones who do this, they will destroy their religions and their hereafter. Okay? So, when you're going to be talking about something from the deen, have your proof, have your evidence. Make sure it's in some type of authentic category. Is it Hassan? It gotta be something. Da'if can't be used as a ruling unless there's absolutely nothing else on it. And then they have something that's Da'if, but there's other Hassan and Sahih hadiths that's in agreement with that one. And then it could be, some will strengthen it, the Hassan and this and that. I don't toy with it. But I'm just saying, when it comes to dalil and knowing the authentic of it, you know, and like I say, the ones who don't do that. Now this is ittiba'a with the salaf. So this is a book, is al-ittiba and the principles of fiqh in accordance with the righteous predecessors, which is the salaf as-salih. Right? The righteous from amongst the salaf. So these is principles that came from Quran and Sunnah that they all agreed upon. And they all agree. Trying to tell somebody something about the deen, what they need to do, how they need to look at it, how this need to go, without any proof, evidence, and knowing if that proof is authentic. For verily the ones who do this, they destroy their own religion and their hereafter. Beautiful Quran ayat, then I'm done. Surah number 7, ayat number 33. Say, right? I had to look at the Arabic for a minute. So, walhamdulillah. So say, of course they put, O Muhammad, right? The things which my Lord has indeed forbidden are all great evil sins, right? Whether committed openly or secretly. So even if you're the only person that know about it, right? It's still a great evil sin. And then sins of all kinds, unjust oppression, and joining partners in worship with Allah for which He has given no authority, and saying things about Allah of which you have no knowledge. And that's when a lot of us be talking about, oh, and when you come to the explanation, it also throws in saying things about Allah, this deen, about Islam, that you don't have no knowledge of, introducing all type of batil and bid'ahs and things like that. These is warnings from Quran al-Kareem, and it mentioned 4 strong principles, right? And they're in order of how severe they are. So what was one? Indeed, forbidden are all great evil sins, right? And then there's sins of all kinds. That can be in speech, because with the Arabic, it's referring to fahisha, just bad conversations, right? And then you have your unjust oppression of people, right? Your unjust oppression of people. And of course, shirk, and even your minor shirks, riyah, and all that other stuff. And then the very last one of all, which is the most severest in the category, because they in order: the sins, the oppressions, the shirk, and saying about Allah and His deen and His messenger that which you have no knowledge of. So you got to know it. You got to have some proof and some evidence, and know if it's authentic before you start running your mouth about it. Not such and such told me this what I was taught. Did they have a book for it? Did it come from a hadith? And we not gonna keep continuing when it comes to the African American community. We not gonna keep continuing, man. Well, everybody not gonna do it. See, we not gonna keep continuing when every time there's a real ruling come out, we want to throw it on the Arabs. Oh, that's the Arabs. That's an Arab scholar. I'm just for the record, I'm finna close on this so we can, go do what we gotta do and pray our prayers, right? Me, I ain't never had an Arab teacher. You know what I'm saying? And I had to throw that out there because people be trying to tell me, because I may say something about, I got some teachers that's in Saudi Arabia, right? That don't mean they from there. People go there and go to school, and being that some of them still in school working on PhDs and masters, but they still have qualifications and stuff like that, but they there. I ain't never had a teacher that was an Arab. Now y'all want to say, because they, oh man, you listen to too many Arab scholars and this and that, you over there learning from them Arabs. Ain't none of my teachers Arab. I got a teacher that's Somalian, right? A couple of my teachers is African American. I got a teacher that's Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? But matter of fact, 2 of my teachers is Somalian. And boy, them Somalians, boy, they take Islamic education like extremely serious, man. Like I'm gonna have to say, like, out of all my teachers, I won't necessarily say like as far as explaining it and certain things, but when it comes to methods of studying and memorizing and how serious they take education, they be like that. But anyway, but when it comes to hadiths and when it comes to other things, people always want to cloak it under that's some Arab stuff, man. At what point what we gonna start doing, saying that the Quran is Arab stuff because the Rasul Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an Arab? Like, we need to get to it, man. And and this for us, this our late night session, and we really need to take this into account, because we love to call other nationalities racist because they may stick with their scholars or they may feel a certain way, but then we do the exact same thing. we trying to make a black Islam by any means. Oh well, you all your teachers need to be black, but we call them racist if they feel like they want all their teachers to be Indian. The Indo-Pak region. If that make them racist, it make us racist too. If we pushing the same agenda, it's even some individuals right now from certain sects that's going through all type of in-depth motions and stuff to try to prove that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was black. That he had dark skin. This is me. Because the way Islam is, we all children of Adam. To me, there is no race. You know what I'm saying? We one group of people, just different colors. We one group of people, just different colors. White, black, whatever. Islam is Islam to me. I don't care the person who teaching me the hawk, if he Arab, if he Indo-Pakistani, if he's white, if he's a black American, if he's African. If he coming with that hawk, I'm going to learn from him. And if he ain't on no deviance and ain't teaching no foolishness, I leave the racism and nationality out of it like Islam tell us to do. You know what I'm saying? When you go into the hadiths with the people who started to, and I don't even want to quote it, but people who started getting into nationalities and all this other type of stuff, it's basically some hadiths where say, where the Rasul say, man, for the individuals who get into that, told them, man, basically, go down on your father. Go down on your father. Okay? For the ones who trying to get into this nationality, this race, this, that, and the third, and all that, go down on your father. There's some hadiths out there that's, So I don't get into it, man. I don't need no black Islam. I don't need no Arab Islam. If they feel like this right here if this make me Arab and me learning Arabic and all that stuff, man, fine. I'm just drawing off Islam, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't need it to be black. I don't need it to be this. I don't need a certain type of culture. Man, let me get to this thing and focus on my destination and leave it at that, man. But I'm gonna wrap it up, man. I'm gonna wrap it up on this YouTube thing, and then we'll say our good nights, and then we get our prayers in, inshallah. So assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah ta'ala, man. Some people found some benefit in this. Any mistakes I made came from myself and the shaitan. Anything that I said that was correct came from Allah Azza wa Jalla Muqtadir. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.